Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 10 of The Grind, the Path to Pro podcast. My name is Chase. I'm also known as Sci-Fight, and I am subbing in for Neri because it's really late where she is, and so we'll make the show go on the road without her. I am normally the back end of The Grind, just doing social media and editing, but I felt like it was a really cool idea to have some more people on this week. We haven't done an episode in a couple weeks, so I was like, why not? And I figured this would be a good call. So with me, I have Mr. Xander Padwick, blank here.
Hey, how you doing?
I have Mr. Nico Chronodota here. I'm not butchering last names.
No, thanks for having me on.
Hey, good. And we have Mr. Ludwig Hankansa. I messed it up. We have Luddee on.
Hello.
How are we doing?
Doing
and
good.
So we're gonna go down the line a little bit and just talk about your path to pro. Nari likes to say, "Who are you and why do we care?" kind of thing, like relevance to Overwatch Contenders. So we'll start off with Luddee here.
So who am I and why should you care?
Yeah.
Screw you, Luddee.
I'm Luddee. I'm 18 years old from Sweden. I'm the main support for Gladiators Legion. I represented Team Sweden in the World Cup last year. Just a kid grinding for Overwatch League. Don't really know why you should care, but trying to make it. That's all.
Yeah, that's what a lot of players say. I don't know why you should care. You probably shouldn't. And then they pop off, and they do rather well. So we've had a couple of players go to Al, actually, from here. It's definitely a key factor. Chrono?
Yes, my name is Chronodota, and I played in AU Contenders for 2 seasons, Season 2 and Season 3. And last time was with Senior Drop Bears. We actually ended up winning like 37-1, something like that. And then this season I played with Second Generation. Yeah, I know, weird flex, I know. But yeah, right now I'm just being full-time streamer, making content, and grinding for Academy Season 2.
Nice. And lastly, we have Mr. Blank.
Yeah, I'm last. I'm not as cool as these two. These two are popping off in games all the time. I just talk about them. I'm the EU Contenders caster. I like to call myself an analyst. I'm not really. I do my best here and there. But yeah, I'm chilling. Overwatch League maybe one day like these two, but for the time being, we're doing Contenders. I'm enjoying myself.
Yeah, EU Contenders is really spicy today, so really spicy lately. There's a lot of good teams. There's a lot of good ones. British Hurricane and Angry Titans are up there too. So we'll be going over that in a little bit. But first of all, I want to ask each one of you guys, how did we end up in esports? Start off with Blank, I guess. But also, what are your goals? How are you kind of taking them? Where are you at in your esports journey? But also, give me an origin story and how has this season been in terms of practice? How do you feel you're doing compared to all the other seasons? You guys have been around in the scene for a bit.
Oh my lord, that's a lot of questions.
I know.
I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna do my best to answer all of them pretty succinctly. Let's think. I mean, you said practice. I don't really practice. I don't have to practice. I can play Overwatch when I want. I don't have to put the hours in. But when it comes down to it, I VOD review a lot. I watch Overwatch League, of course. I think VOD reviewing is probably the biggest thing. I tried recently to do some streaming, but I think it's more beneficial for me to start streaming some of my casting reviews rather than actually reviewing the players. So I'll probably get those started up next week again. I think it might be a nice little insight into why we say the things we do and then why some casters really trip up and say some dumb stuff. So that would be interesting to go through. Origin story, and then I'll cut it short from there. I actually started in esports Insomnia in UK, which is a gaming event. I don't know if any of you know it, but essentially I was a really small-time admin. And my last basically said, why don't you just commentate on this last game? I know you like doing that sort of stuff. And I was like, cool, all right, let's do it. I really enjoyed it. And then basically 2 events later, I was commentating the Overwatch finals for game, which is cool.
Nice. We'll go to Chronodota. You want me
Yeah,
to repeat the question?
No, it's okay. I remember. But yeah, so for origin story, I mean, I've always been a really competitive person my whole life. I played sports my entire life as well, so for me, esports came pretty naturally, and it all started in like elementary school when I got Counter-Strike Source for Christmas. So I ended up actually playing that game competitively at first on my mom's laptop at 20 FPS, and gradually worked. I went to like StarCraft, and we went to like Counter-Strike Global Offensive, and then Dota. But yeah, I mean, now I'm here. I've been grinding the path to pro ever since like 2017, early around there. So still out here on the grind. And that's my goals. Now? FPS? Oh, now I'm showing out 160.
Ooh,
I'm doing a little bit better.
That's a 120 FPS increase. Let's go.
I know. We already made it. So, and like for goals right now, I mean, I'm just grinding to try to make Academy Season 2. But until then, I'm just focusing on my content, YouTube, streaming, and stuff like that. But I'm still making sure to stay sharp because while I can compete right now, I really want to. Because like I said before, I'm a very hyper-competitive person, so I'd definitely like to do that if I can.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of players are really hyper-competitive. Even if they get it back into streaming, there's always that bug that like...
Yeah, I can definitely agree.
When you're watching Overwatch League, you're like, wow, this guy is like not as good as me. Like, I could do this. And then it's like this itch. Like, you got to get back into it and prove them wrong.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's just like trying to play pro is really fun because you're always learning, That's what I really like about it. It's that you really get that feeling of progress every time you get better. So
yeah, I've heard even certain contender regions are like hyperbolic time chambers for practicing and just like learning specific skills super quickly. And OWL is even better. I was like, 1 week in OWL is like a month in contenders basically.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Not that I'm making that specific one, but yeah. Luddee?
All right. Let's see. For origin story, I guess I started playing CSGO when I was like 12. I didn't take it seriously at all. I was like silver. I was just playing with friends as a hobby, Home after school, just play for fun. And then my brother talked me into like actually started to take the game seriously because like to me, I didn't see esports as a future. I was like a kid who went outside, did skateboarding and stuff like that. But I started grinding the game like a lot and took it super seriously. And I climbed a lot. I made it to global elite when I was like 14. I just played like every single day. And I got into Overwatch like before it even got released.
Wow.
Once again, yeah. Once again, my brother talked me into like, swapping games. At first, I was a bit skeptical because I was like, I put so much into CS:GO. I want to make it in CS:GO, but eventually I changed my mind. So I started like learning all the heroes before the game got released. Started like learning all the cooldowns, all the maps, where all the health packs were, all like small stuff like that. And yeah, and then I've been grinding ever since.
Yeah, you guys have all been doing really well. It's interesting because the link between all of you guys is you all kind of stream sort of regularly, and I try to watch all you guys as much as I can, but pretty entertaining. Every one of you guys is a little different. I feel like Luddee focuses more on his game work, and it's really funny because the last time I was in the stream, your dad showed up, which was super cool. And I was like, who's his dad? And he seems like a super supportive person. I know your younger brother too, Mendo. So that was super cool to see someone's dad in chat and like be super supportive, but also like casual. My father's kind of the same way. Kind of regret not talking to him about this podcast. Maybe having him on, not having him on, but like having him watch because he'd find this super interesting.
Just get him on speed dial.
Huh?
Just get him on that speed dial, man. Let's go. Get him on
I'm gonna text him right now. And
yeah, boy.
But yeah, no, Blank. I love your like funny kind of casting reviews and just like going over certain matches. That was really funny, especially when you couldn't get to figure out the sizes for all of the overlays. So if someone followed, it was literally like an animation in the middle of the entire screen, just like taking it.
You know, what can
and
I
he was
say?
trying to
I'm a
review
pro
over
streamer.
it.
Yeah, pro streamer, you know?
It was really funny. I think Trid has a GIF of that actually happening. Just how
man. It doesn't
funny that
let me
was.
down ever again.
Yeah.
It's brought up every other conversation now. It's good times.
And then Chrono, you like do everything, and I like how super informative you are. The VOD reviews have been super cool. Unfortunately, you know, as someone who kind of does a ton of things in the scene, I don't actually play Overwatch, so I don't have any VODs to give you. But
dang, it feels bad, man. Guess it's time to start playing, right?
Knowledge. I have a lot of knowledge. I've been basically a coach for a little bit, but I've done like a bunch of things, and it's not like I don't know about Overwatch. It's just that I'm always watching something or doing something else in the background. There's so much stuff to do other than just play it, and it's kind of hard.
No,
also, I haven't found a duo partner, and I am a very aggressive main tank. So like I need to find a really nice I need to find like a really low diamond main tank. So I feed my brains out when I play. So
definitely not a coward. Respectable.
Yeah. So thanks. That'll be the first topic that I have in there. Second will be the regional rundown. So everyone get their lists ready. We'll be going down the
always get the list.
Specific regional lists. We'll be going down the like results and everything. Looks like our producer is saying that he's ready as well. We'll be going to those. So first region is going to be NA East. Fusion University is number 1, as usual. But their map differential is really just like not top tier. Mayhem Academy have them kind of beat out, although Mayhem may end up losing to Fusion University. So second win at 5-1. Gladiators, Legion, middle of the pack. Chicken Contendies 2 and 4, and then we get the last 3 teams middling towards the bottom. Any opinions that you guys had on these teams?
I don't know, man.
Me and Academy are fucking nuts.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
That's your only F word.
Oh, my bad.
No worries.
We used up early, man. What the hell?
I'm surprised how well second one is doing, even like with all their new pickups.
Yeah.
I was really surprised. And it's just crazy how they managed to like churn out so many like players that get picked up. It's actually insane to think about.
Mm-hmm.
And still doing semi-well as well, which is really funny.
With Frill on main tank, so.
Yeah.
Even though he's not a main tank player.
Good times.
Yeah. Pretty good region. I like the top 3 really vying for it for the top. We got a really hype matchup next week. Fusion University versus Mayhem Academy. And you were just saying Mayhem Academy look really good.
They'll win.
Yeah, they put out this really nice tweet talking about Fusion University. It was one of their players doing a T-pose, which I thought was hysterical.
Yeah, Wub.
Yeah, that was Wub.
Yeah.
All right, I wanted to make sure. He's actually... No, I'm not going to leak it. I'm not going to leak it. If you go to our Discord, our Twitter is the Grindo W. If you go to our Discord, you can double check the player guests and maybe see who the next guests might be. Could be low-key leaking them. Next region going to be NA West.
Can I ask Luddee a question really quickly?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So you know Fusion Uni. Like I only watched like a couple of games from NA East here and there. Like what makes them so strong at the top, dude? Like how do they just get these map 5 wins all the time? Like is there an X factor or what?
So like personally, when we played them, I felt the entire time that we were the better team when we played them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they're doing it. Like people say there's a fucking script, you know. Maybe there is, you know. It's really weird that they keep winning these 3-2 games, you know, these super close games. But I don't know. I don't know how they keep winning. I don't think they're like. I think Mayhem Academy will win like either 3-2 again, but they'll actually win this time, or it's gonna be like a 3-1 maybe. But yeah, I don't think they're like super strong.
Someone's saying witchcraft in chat. but that made me lol.
They use their players' just power. No, they're really strong. They're really clutch too, especially like Map 5s. They've come back from a ton, and it's like there's this clutch factor, and they must have this mentality in their head that must be like, we can't actually lose this. And they play so calmly, and the other team just like falters for a second, then loses.
Yeah, fun fact, after their last 3-2, was it on Monday? Yeah, it was on Monday. Instantly when they were done, they went to like VR warm-up scrim. So like right after a 3-2 game, they went to VR warm-up scrim.
Wow.
Yeah, like
Dang.
crazy.
That says a lot about the players though, and that like they really want to win, that they have that drive, and they're like not going to stop even after an official match. That says a lot. That's cool though. And like they're trying to prove something, especially they have a lot of really good players. I know Alarm is like the big star of Contenders. He's a lot of people call him the like gatekeeper of Contenders because he's really like, a lot of people think he's really out tier. And
Elk's saying that he's the like, I don't know if he's I'm pretty sure he's joking when he says, but Elk's like Alarm is the best Zenyatta. But there's like a lot of different. It's weird to say because there's so many different types of Zenyatas, so you can't really categorize them properly.
I'm pretty sure even Jay Jonak himself, like earlier on last season, he said that Alarm is one of the best Zens in Korea. So
yeah,
I think Alarm's underage, right?
Yeah. I mean, he's saying he's 0.8 J Jonax.
Okay, and that's good enough. That's still pretty good, right? So
yeah, that's pretty damn good.
I'd take it.
Jonak at 1.0, yeah, so it's decent.
All right, so we'll be getting to the next region, NA West. Got Team MV up there at 5-0. Sky Foxes 4-1. These guys play. Today is Tuesday night, so they play tomorrow in the evening. Sky Foxes 4-1 is kind of a big surprise for everyone, even Square One. Atlanta Academy and NRG are middle of the pack, and then we got XL2 second gen phase 2 towards the bottom. Atlanta Academy can definitely make a run for playoffs. I think the top 3 make playoffs this season, so we're trying to.
I thought it was top 6, right? Or top 4? Yeah, top 6 then. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Top 6 make playoffs.
I think so. Yeah.
So last 2 get eliminated and relegated.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, I was thinking of another thing. I think it's just that Team Envy had already clinched it. Same with Sky Foxes and Square One. They've already gone through it. I went through a lot of these and putting the graphics together, so it kind of messed me up as to what some of the colors were actually for. Do we have any specifics on certain teams here?
I'm actually just thinking that to be. Is this after week 5? Because it says week 5, or is this after week 7?
This is week 5 of NA Contenders. We're week 7 into like Contenders as a whole, because I think Australia started early. They're just about to finish. They're actually playing their last playoff game right now. So
yeah, basically, if XL2 like lose all their games and Phase 2 win all their games, potentially get into playoffs. Like,
wow,
that's tough though. But yeah, it does look like it's starting to solidify a little bit more for this standings. Square One though, shout out to Vals and only Vals. It's the only guy I know from that team. He's doing well. Good coach, love the guy, and that's it. That's all I know.
I know Yalfe, and he's super popular. He's the main tank. A lot of people like him. He gets a lot of attention, and he seems to be pretty good. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Vals, especially just like coming out. This team was an open division team last season.
They grinded.
So this is crazy. Like if they make semifinals or even finals, this is like path to pro right there. They're going to be the next second wind if their players make really high into playoffs.
They do have nutty players on the team. Hot Day is insane. I think I don't know how they did it, but like from open division, they managed to get just a ridiculous set of players like that. Like I think a lot of times these players are just outperforming like what expectations would say they should do. But yeah,
they've also been friends for a long time, from what I've heard. Because I know, for example, Jolf and Jellic, and I think Hot Day, that they've been on the same teams together for a long time.
Yeah.
So That's one thing I do. I was like, wow, a team of friends actually like popping off in contenders. That's insane.
That's cool.
Like I'm actually, and even Big L. Yeah, so it's like 3 or 4 people have been playing on the same teams for a long time in Open Vision. Now they come together and they just pop off. So I'm really happy to see that for sure.
They were on Path to Poverty for a while, I think. That team was for a very long time.
Yeah, that's Yeah, exactly. That's their team. And then before that, they played on Alpha Sky, I think it was. Like an Open Division team a while back. Had like half of their players on that team, so.
Yeah. I just realized that my tiles are like falling off right in front of me. I'm like, man. I put them out, but I guess they're like not that secure. I gotta get some glue. I have the like double-sided tape, but I'm like, man, nothing's sticking. I wanted to tell my friends in chat, just make sure we'll do like a drinking game for every tile that falls off. You take a shot or something. But that's a little too. That's not quite right.
Yeah, just gotta ruin your wall, dude. Yeah, just ruin the wall with the glue. Just go for it.
I might just go for it. So, any other topics? Any other opinions about NA West?
I'm a bit surprised NRG isn't doing better than they are.
Yeah. True.
Looking at scrims, like I obviously have scrim insight. In the beginning, they played like super well. I would like put them at the top, like one of the top teams in NA, but I don't know what happened. But yeah, I'm just a bit.
I mean, I completely agree. Like early on, I felt like they were one of the better teams for sure, and it just felt like they stayed in the same spot while everyone else kind of just like got better. So I wonder what's happening there. It's pretty weird.
Yeah, that'll definitely be interesting. They can still make, a run for playoffs here, but yeah, looking at their past lineup, they've been together for a while too. This isn't a team that has been around recently. They imported Smacks in at the beginning of Contender. Same with Pooks, but Pooks is from the US, but they have a lot of international talent too. I think they can definitely go higher up, but yeah, it's interesting to see. Some of these teams seem really good on paper, but just not everything there. I don't want to talk bad about specific teams, though. I mean, like, I feel like because of the way that playoffs is set, like, teams can really make a comeback, especially with some roster shufflings and whatnot. Maybe we might even see a ton of like second wind.
Yeah,
like they just might go God mode on us. No practice whatsoever.
Do you know if NRG who's coaching this team? Do they get like help from San Fran or are they? Because Liquipedia doesn't show them having. Yeah, because Liquipedia doesn't show them having actually a dedicated coach. Plus, they've got like a Korean and an American support line. Like,
yeah, I think
we all know that doesn't work. Like that's been proven time and time again.
They have a guy named Moby Dick. That's their head coach.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, he's their head coach.
I don't know.
And Face is the assistant from Australia. He actually was on Sydney Drop Airs at one time.
Yeah, I'm pretty familiar with Face, yeah. I just didn't want to say it just in case it wasn't public, but yeah.
No, it is public. Blake just didn't scroll down far enough.
Oh, man.
Smile.
Damn, son.
It's all good.
Organization. I see. Cool.
No way.
Look, I get to a page and then like if I don't see it, what's the point? Like I ain't scrolling. I'm done.
It's all right. I'm kind of the same way when it comes to like reading articles and stuff, but with juicy stuff, you always got to read everything. So we'll be moving to South America. Got Loki Esports doing really well this season, plus 17, 6-0. Week 6, day 1 is on Wednesday at the same time as NA Contenders, but it's on a different channel. I tend to watch them both kind of evenly. Loki seems to be really good. They're like top of the top, but Extend pretty good too. I don't think they were the top last season. We had a disband from the former like really huge team. I think it was Brazil Gaming House. They ended up rebranding to another team, and then they came in second place at the in the playoffs, and they ended up disbanding, and a lot of their players split up. So super interesting to see a lot of players going to Loki. Extending Sports, doing really well too. Isris 4-2. They look like they're good for playoffs, and then a lot of teams at the bottom with like really negative map differentials, just because Loki and Extend have been really dominant. Have we heard anything about South America? I know these aren't like necessarily regions that you guys are familiar with. You guys have your own thing to deal with, and you guys are focused mostly on your own regions, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for the most part.
We'll just run down some of the other regions that not a lot of people have the ability to get into. So there's South America. Next region going to be Australia.
Australia
going to be
here goes Chrono
done today. We got Mr. Xander Padwick Esports at 6-1.
What? Oh yeah, true.
Blank Esports.
I actually have a story about this. I actually tweeted them back like quite early in my career, and I was like, "Yo, it's actually hilarious you have this." And then, like, they just never responded to me. And at the time, I was like, "Why would this team not respond to me? Like, I've just been a nice little guy." And then, as like my esports career progressed, I was like, "Yeah, this social media man has no reason to reply to me when I've got like 100 followers." So I was just very naive back in the day, but I could never ever go to cast Australia contenders because of that actual team right there, because I would probably have to make a name change. They would request that I made a name change.
That is so good. I feel like I'm kind of the same way in that I'm super naive and I just like talk to random people and they're like, "Who are you?" Like,
yeah,
or they'll just like totally ignore me. Although I'm different in that I will like pester them until I get the right answer, like because I don't give up in talking to people. So I either like, just keep messaging them like, "Hey, are you there?" Or they just ignore me forever.
I mean, one day I feel like I'm gonna tweet at him another time. I'm gonna come at him just for that them big notifications, that that interaction. I just go for it.
Yeah, I'm getting messages from the chat saying that my acoustic foams are falling off. I know. We're gonna have a drinking game, but just wasn't there. Then I think Luddee here is too young.
No, Luddee.
It's in EU,
dude.
EU laws are different.
Oh yeah, in EU.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, in EU we're drinking from like the age of 11, anyways.
Okay.
That's
Cut the VOD.
Yeah, cut the VOD. Gotta scrap the YouTube video. Sorry, guys. But blank is going to be at the top. Order plus 16 match differential. They have a match today. Can definitely make number one. Sydney Drop Airs 5-1. It's super interesting that all of these three teams are so close, and then even Melbourne Mavericks doing really well. And then the like lower teams: Ground Zero Gaming, Legacy, Atletico, kind of at the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, I feel like EU Contenders is like really heavily like top three. Like the top three teams are very competitive and good, but then the rest of them are like there's a big skill gap between the rest of them. But honestly, at this point, like I don't know which one is better, Blank, Order, or Drop Bears, but all I can tell is I'd probably say either Blank or Drop Bears, but obviously I'm a little bit biased. Because I can't remember what team it was, but I think some team picked up a player that was on Shanghai Dragon Season 1 or something. And then I know, for example, Blank has Modern, who's also a Pacific Contenders player, if I remember correctly. But he's actually a Korean, so there's a lot of imports in Australian Contenders right now. Now that, it leads to the Gauntlet and the Pacific Showdown or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
So.
Eyes emoji.
Also they get
eyes. Let's see.
You were one of the first imports to Australian Contenders, right?
Yeah.
That was the eyes emoji.
I can't remember anybody before that, but yeah.
There must have been like...
Could be wrong.
Yeah. There must have been like one, but they didn't do so well. I don't know. There's always something. But
yeah.
Who are our favorites coming to Australia Contenders, Chrono?
Definitely Blank or Drop Bears. I'm not sure about... I don't know what roster Order has right now, but Blank's roster is good, and I know the Drop Bears players are good. Because Drop Bears is mainly like Team Australia from World Cup, so... I mean, they have potential and they're very coachable, so... We'll just see what happens, honestly. Not sure.
Yeah. Order's roster, Adam, is their flex player. Unter, Yuki, Jordation. I recognize Jordation. Quats and Signed is their DPS player.
That was basically the same team as last season then, except they have Signed on off tank, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's basically the same roster as last season with like one change. So. Oh no, sorry. Their DPS player switched to Zen, or sorry, Flex support, and then they brought in Sign as an off tank player, if I remember correctly. So there's a whole bunch of role swapping going on in that team.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool to see how they actually perform with all the role swaps.
Yeah. What are we really thinking about for the huge Australian LAN for Contenders Australia playoffs? Because I think that's amazing.
That's big.
It's big. It's pretty damn big, not gonna lie.
Because Australia's always had a LAN, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
At least they had in season 2, season 3, and then this season as well.
This season just seems huge. I mean, it's Luddee, have you heard about it?
No.
So it's going to be a LAN in May, I believe. It's
at the CS tournament or something.
Yeah,
you
can go.
It's at IEM.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yep.
Yeah,
IEM Sydney, and $100,000 prize pool. It seems like they've doubled it since last year.
Yeah, the prize pool for Australian Contenders was doubled, and there's less teams. So you get way more money in AU Contenders this season. Like for winning, you get maybe 4 or 5 times more than last season.
You sound really salty, Chrono. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's pretty big, man. I'm happy for him. So I know they're gonna play well. So let's see.
It's interesting to see if they actually do the same for next season of Contenders. Because if they do, then when you think about reducing it from 3 seasons to 2, if they double the prize pool, they actually inject more money into the scene, right? Even if it's 2 seasons,
Oh, true. Yeah, because they double the prize pool each time. Yeah.
So if it's like 100,000 and then 100,000, it's better than the 150,000 over the course of 3 seasons. It's actually easier for teams to acquire the money.
Quick maths. I agree. It also it makes it a lot more competitive because when there were so many teams in AU Contenders, it really wasn't very competitive. But now you can tell that the standings are a whole lot closer than before, having 3 top teams and then one team that's even positive in map score in 4th place. So
yeah,
I think it's definitely healthy for like the smaller Contenders regions.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
So that'll be Australia. We'll be moving on to China, Group A. Very underrated region. We got some really top teams here. Bilibili Gaming is 4-0, the map differential of +14. Bilibili is is an academy team from Hangzhou Spark. Yep.
Bilibili is huge, I think.
Yep. T1W is also like really big. I manage the social media for Broadcast.gg, and I put out a really crazy clip of some crazy bait that T1W did with their diva. They had a baby diva that had mech that was running off the side of Hanamura, second point B, trying to reset.
Yeah, I don't know.
That was crazy.
I don't think it was a bait. So she doesn't want to get in mech anyways. So I think it was good reactions from the Winston in that moment. Though I don't know why the Reaper's not just calling it like the duties just pop primal and they're all still like standing on the edge of Hanamura. I didn't get that.
It was just like a cool play, and the casters.
For sure.
It was really funny because I was just like going through the clip, and just the casters were like, "What? They couldn't understand for 30 seconds. I had to cut the clip early.
Yeah, Rapture and Kenobi just said that they were definitely shocked. That was a funny thing about it. What it was going. I'm just looking at Bilibili Gaming's roster, and now I understand why they're doing so well. These are all players that when I was casting Chinese Contenders, I had my own. Coldest and Mika are just this ridiculous support duo. They've just been around for the longest time. And they just hold hands and just go wherever they need to go, just together at all times. Arguably probably the best support duo in Chinese Contenders, in my opinion.
I've heard a lot from Shy too, as well. He plays the Zen.
Yeah.
And he has been consistently at the top, or if not the top, then second place of Chinese Contenders for the longest time. And he's finally getting on people's radar. He's 16 too. He's been playing for more than 2 years on Bilibili. That's
super
crazy.
Inconsistent though, early on in his career. That's why people were a little bit wary of him, because when he used to play Widow for teams, he'd either pop off in the biggest way, or you just see him in a corner writing in his journal like what I did today, and usually it's nothing. So long, and now he's actually getting results. It's cool.
Yeah,
I like it.
I feel like the younger players can be a little more versatile in terms of performance. The older players just tend to stick to a specific play style and get like pretty consistent results, even if they aren't like completely popping off. They're at least going to a certain play style that's specific to the role. You know, being super defensive on a Zen or flanking a lot as a Widow. They just pick up habits and they stick to them more. We got T1W at 4-0 as well. LGD 2-2. This is just Group A. We have an entirely different group as well. So, Big Time Regal Gaming, 666 Legend, and Alter Ego are down at the second half.
I think if you look at T1W Esports Club as well, like, because as we go into playoffs, like we move over to new patch. I think this is a team that absolutely goes off on new patch. So as long as they secure playoffs, it should be fine. I mean, this entire team is just crazy. Like they've got Michia, who was regarded as like second best Doomfist in the world for a long, long time. Doomfist got like a lot of nice buffs this recent patch as well. Mulan Ran, like I think he was probably the best Pharah last season for Chinese contenders. I think Silver Free is probably the only person that I'm a little bit questionable about. Like I've seen this guy pull out Genji on Dorado. Like the guy's a main tank player. Like he's pulling out Genji, just going ham, and I was like, oh, what is going on here? It just made no sense to me whatsoever.
Just alpha. I don't know.
Yeah, he literally alphaed them all. He pulled the blade and got 2 kills. I was like, what? Like I don't know, dude. It's crazy, but it's nice to see. Assassin's also a really nice Widowmaker. I think they have a really diverse team, and if Silver Free can master ball, I'm pretty sure like come playoffs, T1W have a really good chance of actually just taking it all, to be honest with you. You can hold me to that as well.
We will.
Someone clip that.
Well, we'll take a bet.
Yeah.
I'll make a bet off screen or something. We'll have you dye your hair or something.
No, please.
We actually had Boopam and Pixie make bets with Tonello from South America. That was really funny. They ended up taking them rather well. I think Ham ended up doing a shoey for us.
She did, out the most classy shoe I've ever seen as well.
Yeah, it was really well done.
I loved it. Yeah.
So Group B for China. After week 6, we got LG Huya. They're actually Chengdu's academy team, doing really well this season. Lingan Esports and Huya. They got JMac.
Huya. Let me look at this.
JMac is insane. Big J-Mac. Korean tank.
When did he come in? What's he put? Wow, he's not played for a long time. Okay.
Yeah, he's been on Foxes for a bit. Foxes have had a ton of players from a ton of different places go play. And they've always been kind of wishy-washy, the former Foxes roster, but like really middling results. But all their players go on to do things, you know. And Seimensu at one point, you know, Neko was on the team early on in the scene. Rhea, that's crazy.
Yeah, I don't recognize a lot of people from.
Yeah,
I recognize Molly, Cammy, and Lungsa, but the rest of the players, like, I don't know too much about. But it's kind of weird, like JMac coming like from doing not so well in Korea and then popping off in China. I guess that's how it goes though, because Chinese esports is like so different. Like they just play the game backwards, man. Like I don't know,
in a good way or in a bad way.
It's you seen Chengdu play, like I don't know. They're so unpredictable. Like you go from watching Chinese contenders to watching like Europe or NA, and like the playstyle is so incredibly different. It's like watching a different game. Like they played Genji up until season 3 in contenders. They just did not care. Like goats could have been meta all they wanted, but they're gonna play 2-2-2 till they die. And then as soon as they figured out that quad DPS was a thing, they're like, "Whoa, all right, let's go for this."
Yeah.
So incredible.
Yeah, they fall in love with quad DPS. We see quad versus quad DPS in like the craziest of maps. In like Escort, we're like, what?
They have a gentleman's agreement. They're just like, we're not going to play goats. And the other team's like, cool, yeah, let's have fun. Go, dude. Yeah. Amazing.
When they play goats, it's mostly the goats scuffed. With Winston too.
Super scuffed. Yeah.
Oh, from what I saw.
Mountain goats.
It is scuffed. They don't know how to play it. Like, honestly.
Scrimming Chinese teams is always really weird on drop airs. Because we did a lot of Asian scrims, we played a lot of Chinese teams, and it was an experience, we'll say.
Wow. Yeah, you have to play it so differently.
Were they really good, or was it kind of middling in terms of talent, Chrono?
Like in terms of the teams we were playing against?
Yeah, like were they a challenge or?
I mean, yeah, they were. I mean, that's why we didn't scrim within Australia. We just scrimmed a whole bunch of Asian teams most days. It's like we did a lot of Korean, Pacific, and Chinese teams mostly. And yeah, the Chinese teams are especially weird. Yeah, the Chinese teams are actually crazy. Don't know what they're doing.
Yeah,
I mean that makes sense because you guys were super dominant when you were playing last season. It makes a lot of sense that you guys seemed like you were on a different level.
Mm-hmm.
You're on Chinese level. You're on Chinese level, and then
we got the Chinese chats.
I mean, it says a lot.
That's why we ran Doofus Goats.
Yeah, there were a lot of teams in Australian contenders that were like really negative map differential, really like bottom of the barrel, 0 wins kind of thing.
Yeah, and there's just like a few dominant teams, so obviously it's gonna be way down, you know.
All right, so we're gonna move on because this Group E seems kind of stacked. Next region gonna be Europe. I think we have a couple of people that might know about Europe.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Yeah, Luddee's like probably expert here, to honestly. Yeah, Luddee probably pop off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Luddee, who's your favorite coming into the season?
Oh, that's the hard one. Probably Angry Titans.
All right. No bias there, huh?
No bias. I actually think they're nutty, you know?
Yeah.
Like Fat and ML were probably like the best replacements you could find.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they won against Giganti, you know? Me and Ellie hasn't, so we were probably just a problem.
Oh, man. You said that a couple times, too.
I mean, I haven't won against Giganti, you know? I'm a bit salty about it.
You just come back for one game.
Yeah.
One more game.
I leave 10 and they won against Giganti. I don't know, man.
You feel salty about that?
I'm a bit salty, yeah. I wanted to win against Giganti.
We actually had Urki on our podcast. He was pretty chill. They have their own facility that they're training in, which is super cool. We saw that. I think it was like it was a former gaming stadium for a tournament that they were using the basement for.
It's basically a bar.
Yeah.
It's an esports bar, and in the basement they have like boot camp area. So.
Oh, okay.
They used
to, really cool.
Like teams used to book boot camps there and shit, and they lived in the apartments next to it.
So now Angry Titans just bucket all year. Yeah. No one else allowed in it.
Well,
feels bad, man.
Take TV is the owner of Angry Titans, so that's why.
That's what it was. That was the org that was taking it. That was super cool.
Amazing.
Yeah. I'm sorry for my swearing. I actually don't even think about it.
Is someone calling you out in chat? Oh,
yeah,
no.
I did. I got him. I exposed him. Don't worry.
That's so funny. All right.
It like just goes over my head. I don't know. This is a cool. It's actually probably the most competitive season of European contenders so far.
Oh yeah.
Like in terms of anyone, it's like anyone's game kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like because we see Angry Titans versus British Hurricane next week. And we're all really excited for that. Jaws and Leg Day probably most excited about that because they get to cast that game.
Ooh.
Me and Trid can be sat on the couch, just chilling, watching. But I mean, this is Team Giganti just kind of looked a little bit shaky. And it's weird to say that because they are in third spot, right? And they're a +10 map differential. It doesn't look that bad. But like coming out of season 3, like on that like huge high that they were on, like everyone's saying this is potentially the best GOATS team in the world. I think coming to this where like not too much has changed and they have a decent Lucio, like you expect him to do well during this meta. Like they just had some really hiccup moments, and I can give an example as well because they play versus Samsung Morningstars. Samsung Morningstars are in 5th, right? They're underneath 1 point, and 1 point had about like several different roster changes in the first couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But Samsung Morning Stars, they play versus them on Kings Row. And Kings Row seems to be Team Gigante's like cursed map at the moment. And they held them like just shy of point B. And just some weird stuff has happened. I did a VOD review of it as well on stream. And it's just some really questionable decisions overall. I still think that Team Gigante like have a good chance of taking it back. I mean, like everyone on that team has improved during the season, but it's nothing in comparison to how much improvement Shoes Money Crew have made, 1Point have made, British Hurricane and Angry Titans have made. Like from week 1, British Hurricane looked like a completely different team.
Yeah, seriously, they looked really sloppy. Not gonna lie, I ended up watching a ton of EU contenders like the first couple weeks, and they looked kind of out of place.
Yeah,
against middle of the pack teams, and it was like, okay, is this the same British Hurricane that we saw before, or they were kind of middle of the pack? You know, I love the org and the players on the org, and they stick with the players on the org too. It's not like British Hurricane players get moved around. It's the same with Team Gigante. I think they just stay.
Yeah, man. I mean, you got a decent roster. You've been playing TO for a long time. Like, I think synergy in this current meta as well. Like, if you can have players who know each other, like there's a lot of stuff, especially like when you're booping as Lucio or trying to get a bash off, where in the moment it's very difficult to communicate that type of thing. Like,
yeah,
you just have to know when your Brigitte or your Lucio is going to do that. And I think that's very prevalent, especially in British Hurricane with Yofi and Numlocked. Like Yofi will go for these insane boops, and Numlocked will be like already pressing Q as the Reinhardt's getting boot back. Like it's pretty incredible. And like towards the beginning, I didn't rate Numlocked like too highly, but then like towards the end, I'm pretty sure I'd probably put him on top in Europe. Like he's like close contestation with Lulsish, but I think both of them play like two very different styles, so it's hard to really like say who's the better Reinhardt at this point. I guess we'll find out next week though, so tune in for that, I guess.
I think the entirety of Europe is just stacked with good main tanks. Even though like middle of the pack teams have like crazy Reinhardts, and I used to even coming into this season with like Shoes Money Crew, Young and Beautiful, Crandop pops off a lot. JK Lol pops off quite a bit. You know, going back in the VODs, it's like either their Reinhardts are being pocketed and just being really counted for, or something about it is just like the shatters is just like everything in EU contenders. It's crazy.
Yeah, I do think the shatters are set up a lot of times for the Reinhardts. Like I think Krandov hasn't been doing like all that great this season. He had his game versus 1Point recently where they kind of actually put like a bit of a stick in the side of 1Point, because now they're worrying about being in playoffs because they lost 2 maps to Young and Beautiful. And if I remind you guys, Young and Beautiful hadn't won a single map all the way up until week 6, where they won 2 versus 1Point. But I think in terms of Europe, I'd say that the Lucio talent there is actually pretty insane. I think Lucio is probably our best, like our strongest point at the moment. And even though Young and Beautiful are 0-6 minus 20 map differential, I'm pretty sure you'll see Young Savage get picked up from that team pretty quickly in Young and thrown somewhere else, because he's insane and he's really young as well. Like he's got a lot of potential in the guy.
Yeah, he really pops off. He's a very. It's like people have heard about him just because he's so good.
Yeah, dude, like he's so
even
aggressive.
If you're on the bad team,
so annoying. It's like a Mozzie. Like I don't know. You just want to like slap him, get rid of him.
Oh my god! All right, well, let's move on. Luddee, anything else we should know about you competitors?
No, I don't know if I have anything else.
Just that Angry Titan looks really good.
Yeah, I mean, I really agree with like EU being super close this season. Like Eternal Academy versus Angry Titans.
Yeah, man.
Like, that game. That's like one game I caught. It was like crazy. And
the reverse sweep, man. It was pretty pog.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks cool. All right, so next region gonna be Korea. Runaway, kind of going away with it. +9 map differential. But this region has been so close. This is the closest region we have. It is crazy close. Like bottom, top of the table to like middle of the pack is like a map differential of +8. Like that's crazy. Runaway have been losing maps. Genji nearing the top, but like it's anyone's game at this point when it comes to Korea. There's a lot of talent that I'm sure is going to be picked up for OWL. Have you guys caught any of the matches? I know they're kind of late, especially for like people in Eastern Pacific time.
Yeah, man.
No,
like,
I
haven't caught too many of the games, but like Leg Day and Joe's are casting it now, obviously online.
Mm-hmm.
I get to talk to Leg Day now and again about Korea. I think he definitely agrees that the region at the moment is super close. I'm really happy for Runaway though. They had like I don't remember how many people they screened to get them in. I think it's like 126 or something ridiculous to get that final team. But
wow.
like they're crazy. I think Kyoku is probably one diva that you'll most likely see in Overwatch League pretty soon.
Oh yeah, by far. It's just really a shame that some of their players are under 18. They're like 16, 17. So we're not even going to see them next year in OWL.
No man. So they've got a while, but you'll see them get picked up sooner or later. But like it's cool to see like all of the big names like stick around for so long in Korea and just keep coming back. Like seeing Geekstar at the bottom and then looking all the way up to Runaway and me recognizing all these names is really nice for Korea. It's just a shame it went online. But it's nice that a lot of the teams are like putting in the effort to get their teams out to like little areas where the fans can still go see them and get signings, etc. Which is really cool. And also like I still love that in chat we're still getting like WGS Armament fighting and Runaway fighting before like each map begins. So I think the community can definitely keep that up. Like it's a nice touch.
Do you think I get it from Apex? That's always the best one. Yep, I get it.
That was a really nice meme from Apex.
Yeah,
I think that
I still do it.
Yeah, I think that the casters still do it too.
Yeah, man.
I haven't seen.
I get it. I haven't dropped one on Europe yet, but I think I will at some point when it's appropriate.
Nice. Yeah, even like the bottom of the of Korea have some really crazy staying players that are just like, yeah, I'm really good. Like I'm not going anywhere. My job is pretty solid, even if we're 7th in the standings at -5. Like you still get, oh, who's on O2 Blast? Oh, it's Kaiser. All right.
The old Kaiser.
I guess we'll be seeing him in OWL next season, and I'm super interested to see on whether or not Runaway are going to stay as a roster, going to stay together and maybe wait a year or so to make OWL just like the Vancouver Titans roster did.
I actually talked to Wolf about this. So I was in his chat the other day, like, and we were just like talking because I was wondering the exact same thing as, do Runaway stick together and does Runner and Flav go for that like the big buyout? And Wolf's pretty adamant that they're not going to stay together as a team. They'll probably go up as individuals because like the possibility that a team gets rid of all their roster and pulls up the entirety of Runaway is very unlikely. And at this point, with 20 teams in the league, I think it's going to be a little while before we see any more expansion teams added. So I just don't think it's worth it for Flav and a Runner to do that. I think what's going to be the main issue is how big buyouts are. Just because Runaway is such like a big name at this point, right? It's got a lot of backing behind it. Like probably some of these players are going to cost more than it will be to transfer an OWL player over to another team at this point. So it depends how worth it is, which is sad because this career looks so close at the moment. It's very hard to determine how much of a benefit pulling these players up will be. Because it's not super clean. Like just by the eye test, it's not super clean. So you'll probably have a while whilst coaches are like scouring VODs, seeing who really is worth it and who's not. In like the nicest way possible to say that. but it's still tough.
Yeah, it is. It is kind of interesting because we have seen players like. Trying to think, just like we've had a couple players go back to Korea Contenders. Booyal is probably the most significant.
Smurfing.
Yeah, just like we've seen players do really well in like everything they do, and then we've seen players like completely shut down. So. But everything being middle of the pack in Korea Contenders means that like everyone gets a chance to maybe make L with maybe on Mayhem or another kind of Korea-based team. I even think Toronto Defiant might be looking at some upgrades.
That's just a topic though that we can definitely talk about. Is like I don't know what you think, Luddee, Chrono, like about mixed teams. Because I was talking to Jaws about this, and Jaws was saying about how if you have 4 Korean players or 4 like single language speaking players on a team, like it's very difficult to pull in 2 extra players who speak their own language, because obviously they're going to have a very tough time unless they're DPS and playing something like Widowmaker or Hanzo, in which case they just do their own thing to operate with that team. But the moment where I think, what was it, Washington versus Chengdu, and it's like 27 out of 29 heroes were played. Like, there's not many options where you just play the exact same thing and can get away with that. So I'd be interested to do you think we're going to see like more full Korean rosters and just full Western rosters? Or do you still think teams can find success that way?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest question. I definitely think it just depends on how the coaching is and how coaching is structured. Like a good coach, like we look at the top of the table and there are mixed rosters that are at the top of the table. You got Philly, you got Boston, that are like completely off the grid. We got players from every continent, pretty much.
Yeah, that's true.
Boston, and
I do think it's awful to have like everyone on the same language, though. I really do. I don't know. It feels like for me the awkward thing would be if it's like 3-3, right? 3 Koreans, 3 English, or whatever. I think like if you have 1 Korean player, like 1 Western player, I think it can work out. But I don't know, when you have like a pretty even split, I think that's when it gets like really difficult. Because you have to take into account like VOD review and stuff too, right? Like to explain things in depth in VOD reviews. Like that's not so easy when it's like your second language, and you're communicating between 2 different language barriers in a VOD review. So,
and you have a translator, and you don't know if that translator has said the.
Yeah, exactly, and that takes a whole bunch of extra time as well. So,
yeah,
I'm not a big fan of like 50-50 mixed rosters. Maybe like 2-4 or like 1-5 mix.
Okay,
that's about it.
Actually, I think Luddee is could give us some insight on this topic, because you got Water, who's just come from Pacific Contenders. I don't think his English is that good. You got Panker. Is his English pretty good?
Panker's English is really good, yeah.
Right. And then you got XQC, who's like
his English is not so good. Even up. His English is not so good, but you can kind of understand what he's saying. Panker's better though, because you know exactly what Panker's saying.
Yeah, it was funny. Small leak. I invited Water to the podcast, and like this was right after last season of Contenders. I'm like, I really want him on the podcast because I wanted him to talk to Kefri, because it seemed like they were really close, and we had an episode with Kefri on it a while back. And I was like, you did really well this season, and congrats, and we're super interested to see if we can have you on with Kefri or with anyone else from Talon that he was on. No, he wasn't on Talon. I'm sorry, he was on G Pantheon KR.
Yeah,
and he replied with "thank you." So I'm like, I don't think your English is so good, but that feels bad.
Water is like just this player you just whack on anything and he just performs though. So
yeah, he is crazy. He is insane.
Yeah, he is.
I had some second guesses on Kefri calling him crazy, but like looking back at his season, even though his team did kind of middling, he like popped off every single fight.
Yeah, I think he's second player after Haxel to really popularize Genji dashing afar and just immediately killing it.
Oh yeah, I saw that clip. That was nutty.
It's so dumb.
Yeah,
I mean, Haxel was doing it in Apex, where it's like arguably easier to do. but then War is like still doing it now, like vanilla. It's just I don't understand like how he does it. Like some of the like goes back to what you talking about earlier, Chrono, like just with intuition on DPS. Like this guy has got some sort of like processing chip in his brain, just allows him to see like 5 different players at the same time, and like he's got a monitor behind him. He just knows what's going on. It's insane.
Yeah, it's really good.
Luddee, what do you think? You looked a little perplexed here.
Well, about the whole like mixed roster thing, I think having like 2 to 3 Koreans is fine. Especially if you have like, let's say 9 players, is that the max? Or
yeah, 9 players. 9 players max.
Yeah, so if you have like 9 players, then 3 to 4 Koreans would probably be okay. Like having 2 Koreans is probably good because they can talk to each other. They have another Korean there, and if they're like practicing English, they can learn together and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're like hamsters. You gotta keep them in pairs.
I think it's really good that we have Panker as well, because like if mid game we have to like translate something, he can just do it for water in case there's like a long explanation like that he won't understand, or like a long rotation or something like that. So it's definitely good to have like 2 Koreans.
That's insane because you got Panker and you got Bishu now as well. It's like the translator god duo. That's incredible. But like if you didn't have Panker who was translating, do you think it'd be like way harder then?
It would probably be harder, yeah.
Yeah.
But
that's fair enough. So players like Panker and Bishu, just like their net value just goes up like a load just because of that. And a lot of times we don't even know about that happening in the background. Like I didn't know Panker was amazing at translating on the fly.
Like, no, he's good. He has
cool.
good English, yeah.
I hadn't heard a lot about how good he was at English, but that's awesome. I don't know, that's super cool. Any other topics you guys wanted to talk about for Korea?
Not for Korea, but like I don't know if you know what Flux is. It's like the thing that changes your like your screen, like how much.
It's the best.
I know what it is.
Blue lights.
Yeah, it's definitely the best.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I disabled it until sunrise, and it's just come back on. The sun is literally rising. Screw my life, dude. Oh my god. I'll have the longest nap after this.
Well, thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it. We'll be moving on to the next map, the next region, which will be Contenders Pacific. Get Talon Esports sitting pretty at 5-1. Nova Monster Shield also 5-1. Cyclone Coupling. We have some middling teams. This seems to be like the
Giant Lynx. What? Didn't even know that was a name. Incredible. Yeah. They've got some ace names. It's like every single team sounds like they are the nemesis of Soldier, dude. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. And the cool thing is that Contenders Pacific, they have such wide varying rosters. You get people from Thailand, you have Taiwan, you have the Chinese team, which are Cyclone Coupling, and then you have Jupiter, who are an all Japanese roster, and
that's cool.
Yeah, and then you have Kicks, who are towards the bottom, but they have Sun, who is from the USA. And I remember hearing about him being on the roster. I don't believe he starts, but it's just super interesting to see a US player being imported. We don't see that a lot, so
no wonder.
Super interesting.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Someone saw talent in him. I haven't heard a ton about him specifically, but yeah, just the fact that it's so regionally diverse. A lot of Thailand, Taiwan, Singapore players, just players from all around Asia. Just super cool to see.
Mm-hmm. I think there's like 3 teams at the top being 5-1. It's kind of crazy as well. Like that should be an interesting playoffs.
Yeah,
at least. Because like when you have like teams like Kicks and Giant Lynx, so like 0-6 and 1-5, and you like they're kind of guaranteed to go outright when you got Xavier Esports at -2 and Jupiter +2. That's just going to make the playoffs really cool. I might actually watch playoffs with Pacific standings now, just for that. Because I think quarterfinals will actually be interesting.
Yeah.
Rather than just going to semifinals, and that's where it gets juicy, you know.
Yeah, that'll be super interesting. We'll be seeing that fairly shortly. But that'll be the end of this segment. Took a little longer, but I honestly love the conversations that we have over NA and EU specifically. Next week, I really want to talk to someone specifically about Korean contenders. Wink.
Wink, wink, wink,
wink, wink. Last topic is going to be mostly for the players. Sorry, Luddee and Chrono. There's not a lot of insights to give on the specific regions, but tell me about Bastion. How have you liked Bastion? Is he throwing all your comp games? Are you mad because he's insanely broken? What do you think of him?
You mean Baptiste, right?
Yeah, Baptiste.
Yeah.
I mean, Bastion's kind of broken because Baptiste, right?
I was gonna say I play East Coast and I see a lot of Bastion, so
yeah.
I feel like we see them together, so I feel like I mixed them up because we often see them at the same pick.
I mean, from what I've seen, I haven't been able to scrim on the new patch, but in ranked, it just feels like Baptiste is really good in bunker comps. But it feels like if you're playing her in a Winston Diva comp, it's kind of a throw. Now, I think in Goats is probably a throw as well, because a lot of the characters in Goats are pretty crucial to the comp. But yeah, that's what I think. Just bunker comps, he's good. Everything else, I don't think so.
Yeah, dude, 100%.
Yeah,
I'm gonna let Luddee speak first because Luddee probably knows way more than.
Well, I haven't scrimmed the new patch either, but I mean, looking at Overwatch League, we can see there's still varieties of goats, but I just think there's gonna be a lot more variety this season, and I think I think Baptiste is gonna be played even more when players and teams get a real good understanding on how to play him, because now it's he's still really new, you know. But I don't know.
We'll have to wait and see. I mean, I've done a bit of research on him just because I want to be prepared for patch 1.3 for 1. And not seem like an idiot when he gets played, undoubtedly. So I learned his cooldowns.
Yeah, he's got really long cooldowns.
I learned the name of his abilities. No, I'm kidding. I think the major thing is for me is that because in the bunker comp, right, play it on Anubis or you play it on King's Row, where you can actually set it up high, where it's not entirely easy for a Goat's composition to get to him because they have to make massive rotations in which you can react to pretty easy. So you're kind of forced into playing ham and dive composition, right? And usually that's the easiest way to break the bunker comp. Yeah, so you just go for one coordinated dive and you just kill the Bastion. But now you got to deal with also invuln field, which is a bitch to deal with because you dive and then invuln field goes down, and then a lot of times you'll see decent Baptiste. I really like the way Arc plays Baptiste currently. He has lots of really good angles for the invuln field itself, so you can't actually see it. And if he gets one down, your dive kind of falls apart a little bit because it gives way more time for the Bastion to actually do something rather than just get overwhelmed. And then it comes into question, you play Sombra now and you try to get rid of the invuln field that way. But then, and then there's even more to it. And this is where I think Luddee's completely right, is players who get really good on Baptiste can have to counter this, because I think there was a Karki video recently, it was just a clip where he predicted the Sombra coming in, and you can throw the invuln field directly upwards. If you look directly, it stays in the air for a certain time. For activating, it can't actually be hacked. So then it drops down after the EMP goes off and activates them. So then everyone's living. Yeah, it's really dumb. So you'll probably see, you'll probably get to eventually to it's a point. Yeah. Because people probably want to run hack and slash into that competition, right? And just EMP Genji Blade it. And then Nano Winston. But I don't know. I think if you live the initial dive and you can get the decent invuln field off, you probably survive afterwards. So yeah, I completely agree with Luddee. The more we see from Baptiste and the better players get, the meta's just going to evolve more and more and more. But it's gonna be dumb. It's gonna be Jay Jonak levels of Zen. Like someone's gonna be the Jay Jonak of Baptiste, and it's gonna be really difficult to break those bunker comps.
Yeah, I think you're gonna start seeing a lot more like spam-based dive comps instead of like like we see a lot of Tracer Genji. These like faster, killing DPS. But I think you'll see more like Pharah and Hanzo against it. Because like if you just commit everything into the dive and then they use the Baptiste thing, they just heal back up and you're already committed and you probably just lose.
Yeah,
so you're probably gonna see a lot more spam, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, the invuln field happens when you've used all of your cooldowns. He just backs up a little bit, uses his ultimate, and then just like presses right click once, and his whole team's up full of health, and it's just like, well, you wasted all your cooldowns. Yeah.
Fun
and
character.
He seems really against the typical goats composition, because you'd have to be kind of close range to be effective with goats, and his kit is all about like, okay, get my team away from whoever is playing. Try and deal damage specifically into line and make sure that everyone is AoE. So yeah, it's cool because he's decreasing the prevalence of goats, but like heroes like Genji and Hanzo and even Widow are like really good against him specifically. So we're seeing those heroes pop up in comp a lot, and yeah, it's pretty interesting.
For sure, man. For sure.
All right. Any other topics on Baptiste? Keep messing up his name.
Baptiste. Really. Yeah, dude. I don't know.
He's a cool alt.
Someone's gonna come in here and start like hitting us all with that. He's the Baptiste. Yo, actually, that's a question. Chrono Luddee, what do you call the ulti? Like, I play Baptiste in ranked.
I'm the worst at it. Yeah, I just have the worst callouts for new characters, man. I call it Matrix, and then my diva starts matrixing me, and we're all confused. Right? And then I call it. I play a lot of Hammond, and I play against Baptiste, and I say Hughes Minefield, and I'm just like, dude, I don't know. I need to figure something out. I can't do it.
Yeah. I just say Batbolt.
I just say Batbolt. Yeah,
I say
Batbolt. I think some people like started saying square or box. I'm like, this makes no sense.
Box.
And then his invisibility ability, I call Lamp.
Yeah, Lamp's a good call out for that for sure.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people call Lamp because it looks just like a lamp. I think the other social media person from Broadcast.gg ended up making a post like comparing it to multiple things on what they were called, and it looks just like a lamp too.
Yeah. What happens if you say lamp and then your Lucio just starts amping heals? That's the real question.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah, but normally people just say speed, right?
Yeah, it's true.
Because amp is for
speed. That's the worst thing though, because you throw down Invum, then you call for lamp, and then suddenly you're speed boosting out of there, and you're like, you want to stay in that set area. Come on, dude. That's the truth. Feels bad.
Yeah, that's really good. All right. I think we're good for all of the main topics, so we'll be moving on to a Q&A segment. I'll be getting some questions from Twitch chat. Do you have any questions for people specifically? We also take questions from for like things as like a general question. Bemi has a question, and I just had one question specifically for Luddee. I'm actually a big fan of Bishu. I remember playing solo queue in League when I was actually good. He used to play Nidalee a lot, and he went to Overwatch. How do you like having him on the team?
He's probably like the best teammate I've ever worked with, I think. He's like always happy. His attitude is amazing. Like, you can discuss things with him, I don't know. I really fucking like the guy so much. Like, I love him. Yeah. I love working with him.
That says a lot, because you seem pretty close with people on Angry Titans. So that seems like a lot. He seems like a really positive individual.
Yeah, he is.
No matter who you, like who you talk to or how you see him, like he's never down at all. He reminds me of this kid who used to be in my first grade class, just like always smiling, literally always smiling.
That's a psychopath, right there. That's the first sign. You gotta be wary of those people.
That's the clip. That's the place I clip from. Oh, that's a good question. Bemi, our producer, awesome producer, has a question for Chrono. When you jump between one style of game to another, what makes you choose those games? Because Dota and Overwatch, in a general sense, are not that similar.
Oh, that's a good one. Well, I don't know. Like, I've always considered myself to be more of like a strategy kind of player. I never considered myself to be an FPS player. So yeah, I mean, I played Counter-Strike, and then I kind of felt like I can't be the best Counter-Strike player. Like, I just feel like those like very, very low time to kill games are just like not for me. Because I would always like, I was entry fragger and I just end up getting fragged every single time. So I was like, screw this, man. I gotta find something else. And Overwatch just happened to come out, and I was like, okay, you know what? Let's give this a shot. And then I started off with main support, and I did that for what, like a year and a half. And then I've been playing main tank for the past maybe 15 months or so. But yeah, the reason I pick both main tank and support is because they're more about like the strategy side. They don't rely as heavily on like the mechanics, like super low time to kill. I mean, juggling and primal mechanics, like sure, but that's like pretty easy compared to being super fast and flicking on heads, and you know.
So that's super interesting. Yeah, I was the opposite. I used to play League, and then I went to Overwatch, and I became bad. Now I'm like Heartsoak plat. Oh man, I used to be so good at League, and I don't want to go back to it because I feel like that scene is really saturated already. But you know, I even though I absolutely suck at Overwatch, there's so many great like players and people and personalities to talk to. It's great. It's like everyone's trying to find a home, and even streamers like you guys are like really interactive with people. So it's good to see. Don't see that a lot in League. Everyone seems to have everyone is either at the highest echelon or is like just a scrub.
Wow.
It's like an average, just an average player, you know?
Just your average scrub, you know? Looking for food and money.
Oh. That question goes for Luddee as well, because I know you've played CS for a lot.
Well, what's the question, sorry?
When you jump between one style of game to another, what makes you choose those games? My bad.
I wanted to ask this earlier, actually, as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I like brought anything with me really from CS:GO other than like team play, like general just team play. You know, talking with your teammates. You know, communicating with your teammates. That's like the only thing I brought from CS:GO. Like jumping from CS:GO to Overwatch, I don't know. It's a huge difference. Like Overwatch is basically a MOBA FPS, right? So. And I didn't have any MOBA experience from before, so that's a hard question. Yeah.
I feel like once you get good at one game, though, it's easy to become good at another game.
For sure.
It's the same process, like no matter what type of game it is, in my opinion.
Communication and teamwork is something I brought from Overwatch, or from CS:GO to Overwatch, though. That's like the only thing, really. Maybe aim, but I'm a Lucio.
I feel like also the ability to like not tilt when you're playing comp is really good too. Just like having
that doesn't come from CS though.
Yeah, that's more of a last one.
Are you a tilter, Luddee?
I used to tilt heavily in ranked. I mean, I do tilt sometimes because ranked is like in a terrible state. But you know, I just try and focus on my myself, you know, my mechanics, and fuck it. Like the last few streams I've fed a bit because I'm focusing on becoming a better Lucio player mechanically, so you know, I'm just trying to focus on that now. Not really tilting anymore.
That's good. Yeah, you don't seem to rage too much, especially if you're on stream. You seem pretty relaxed and like just chill, like you're just listening to music and
unless I go like 0-8, then you know I turn on really loud music and just
I haven't gone that stream yet. You seem to be pretty consistent, yeah. A quick question for Luddee. What kind of headset is that?
It's the Logitech G Pro, I think it's called.
Poggy.
A lot of Logitechs. Our producer's like, ew.
My Steel series right here. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I have some crazy peripherals. Like my mouse is like an Anchor. I don't know if a lot of people have heard of it. It's like super economic.
I thought you actually meant like a genuine Anchor. I was like, what?
No, actually, it's really light. It's Anchor with a K instead of a CH.
Oh, I see. Don't
A and K. Like they're super cool. Yeah. Another question from BenzoBox in Twitch chat. You might have already talked about this, but do you think the goats? You think that goats needs further nerfs, or is the meta going to even out as time goes on?
I like it how it is, to be honest. I think over time, like, you'll just start seeing more counters.
I think we have to wait and see.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like Blizzard really tried killing goats with this patch. But looking at the Overwatch League, they haven't really succeeded at like fully killing goats, but there's still gonna be some more variety, so I think I'm happy with it.
It's really early. So I think it's still too early to say.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't even think the teams know what they're doing at this point. Like that's like big BM right now, but I genuinely think at the moment it's just a lot of experimentation. I don't think I think some of the teams have like got it down. Like the teleportation strat from Chengdu was particularly amusing for me in particular. But there was just some interesting comps coming out. I think we could probably say in like 3 weeks, like if the meta is still good. But you might, because a lot of times you do see just teams default back to goats after like swapping 2 times. So I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like early on in like a new meta, I feel like you can just cheese a lot and get away with it because people don't know what they're doing. But that's how it usually is. Like if there's a big meta change like this.
I hope the meta stays kind of the same as what it is now. I know it's going to be refined a lot more. We're going to see either niche picks come up and like be really prevalent, and we're going to see like Genji versus Baptiste or Hanzo versus Baptiste like all the time, and like that's going to be the specific counter for it, or things are going to be map dependent. And I like the meta now in that it's really map dependent. We're still seeing goats on King's Row, right? You're always going to see goats on King's Row because there's not a lot of high ground to really get a lot of value in besides the first point, and it's just a lot of corridors. And then on other maps, it's really dependent on whether or not control. You see a lot of goats on control, but like escort, we see bunker on defense. On hybrid, we see bunker as well. A lot of dive to counter it. So I mean, it's just interesting to see. I really like the meta as it is now, though. You guys fond of it, or is it like super complicated?
I mean, I like the diversity, but I don't know. Playing against Baptiste is really annoying, in my opinion, because it's new. It just feels really hard to counter sometimes. But
I think it's a stupid kit, but like I thought it was a joke. Like I legitimately thought it was a joke when they announced him.
Really?
Yeah.
I think his shift is too strong. I don't like his shift.
His shift? No, shift doesn't do that much healing, does it? It feels really slow.
No, it does a lot of healing. And considering like it's got a massive radius on it. So
I mean, it's a long ass cooldown though. Like you have no self healing as Baptiste. I feel like you have your shift and that's it. And I guess your E, but if you use your E and then you're low, you use your shift, like it heals so fucking slow. And you
can't do anything.
If anyone dives you can't do shit because you have no self healing at all.
I think
with Anna, you have nade and you have sleep, right?
Yeah.
That's why her kit is so good. But Baptiste has nothing against that. But I guess I don't know.
I think we were playing like Anna and Baptiste, and then they just nade everyone, and then Baptiste just press shift.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
Like I think definitely it comes down to managing the cooldowns properly, because I think you can cycle out E and shift like effectively, but then again, most teams will, like Chrono says, will just spam you out and just be like, "What the hell's going on?" It's like 7 arrows in my ass right now. What am I gonna do about it?
He seems deceptively strong in that, like, when you initially come up against him, he's like, you know, like, I'm shooting you with my pea shooter. It does 0 damage. And then he gets his ult up and his immortality field, and you're like, oh,
yeah,
his team can't die. Oh, his team just one-shot me, you know?
Yeah.
I think Like Day was talking about the Bastion having a DPS of 900 per damage per second.
It's pretty funny, all in all.
Yeah, it's a lot of DPS.
That's absurd. That's like Reinhardt shield and gone.
I don't have my document with me. I have an Excel sheet of like all the DPS numbers, but I don't have it with me. I should bring it with me next time. But I'm pretty sure Bastion's like 4. Oh yeah, it's 450. So it is 900. Yeah, I thought it was less for some reason.
Crazy. That's crazy. And then it's just a laser with the ultimate.
Yeah, it's pretty disgusting. I don't know how good Soldier 76 is with the amp matrix though. Like, I see a lot of people like trying to combo like tac fires. I'm just like, I don't know how good this is. It just doesn't seem very strong. People just stand behind shield.
Yeah,
just,
it's
like,
definitely not good.
Yeah,
because the whole point of Soldier is that he's really mobile and he can like reposition and have to sit and shoot through the matrix.
But Square can't. Like, you can't bring the Square with you.
Yeah, exactly.
You put it on wheels. That'd be ace.
We got a lot of meme questions from Made in chat. He was one of the guests last time. Luddee, would you rather swallow a marble or run on coal?
It's on fire. We clarified.
Swallow a marble? Hello? Is that?
I feel like that's the general
like
answer.
Dangerous or something? Like.
Yeah, that's the play.
Like, is it a small marble?
Bami's asking how big is the marble? If it's like a regular marble, like.
Yeah.
I've seen large marbles in my time.
Yeah, me too.
I figure it's just like a normal size.
Like,
so
when you see normal marbles, like just the big ones. Yeah. Like an apple-sized marbles, man. Like, that would get caught in the throat.
That, and I feel like gamers have like really soft feet. They wear socks all the time. They have like really soft feet. So, like,
I don't wear
socks. Is like, it's just like burning your feet.
Yeah, I think if you swallowed the marble, you get away with it. I one time swallowed like an ice cube the size of an apple, and I just drank hot chocolate, and it was GG for that ice cube. Honestly, it was
actually a genius.
Yeah, no, it got trapped in my throat. I was like 7. It's like Home Alone as well.
Oh, Made.
It's like,
why you gotta answer these questions?
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, you've been giving us a lot of good spicy topics, like.
Nah, man, like, it's all chat. It's all chat. They set me up big time.
Mm-hmm.
Luddee, I've got a question. Mm-hmm. Can you do the villain turn just one more time, please?
All right, just for you, bro. Just for you.
All right, everyone, be quiet, and then we're gonna clip this after.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
Oh shit! Wait.
Wait. I'm so
all right, you ready?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's so good.
Extra cringe for you.
Yes. Oh, it's too good, man.
That's good.
I'm about that. I'm about that in the
video. This question is amazing because I know it's for Chrono. Do you have any advice for a GM Lucio stuck in East Coast games?
Yeah, I actually don't, dude. You just have to ride it out, to be honest. Hope for the best.
Wait, is that for Luddee? I was for Luddee.
Yeah, I know.
Why do people call you the Lucio Michael?
I've never heard that before.
Yeah,
I've never heard anyone call it before. East Coast games? I don't know, man. I don't know, dude. I've been playing East Coast games for like a week.
That's the consensus.
Yeah, it's really bad.
I don't know, dude. It's funny because if you look at the East Coast players that made Overwatch League, or the players that made Overwatch League from the US last season to this season, 11 out of 12 of them are from the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if they're good, they're like the best because they've like hardened themselves on East Coast games. They're like the top of the top, like made of diamonds.
I'm guessing East Coast was a bit better back then, right? Because now there are like all the Overwatch League players are in West Coast. So
yeah.
Like,
so you think it's even worse now because the good ones?
Oh yeah, 100%, no question. I think every region is worse now because everyone's on West Coast.
Yeah, 100%.
Wow. So West Coast is actually the best coast.
Yeah,
yes, by far, no question.
Wow.
I played West Coast for the first time yesterday. Wait, 2 days ago, with Epps. Thanks to him, I managed to get some West Coast games. and they were just so much better.
Yeah.
Like, we lose? Oh shit, that was a fun game. You lose on the East Coast, you get fucking rolled, or you either full. Like, it's one of the two. You got a Torb one trick, or like, it's so bad.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of watching Chrono stream as you were playing really late at night after one of the Owl Nights, and Bumper was in a few of the games.
Yeah.
And that was just like the funniest thing, because he was going off.
Dude, I love Bumper. He's such a nice guy, man.
He wasn't even playing main tank, too. You were playing main tank.
Yeah, you just main tank.
He's just like the weirdest stuff. And he just plays Genji, he would scream when something happened. He would play
playing Soldier, playing Pharah, playing Genji.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice guy.
Everyone was trying to convince him to just play something that he could play.
Actually, a really good question in chat is from Freezing Tide. It says, any advice on how to speed run to my path to pro faster than 9:37? It actually brings up like it's a meme question, but it also brings up like this kind of weird thing with how players with like not too much history are getting picked up really quick, because you don't have any reputation. There's like no reputation way better than like some bad reputation, and I feel like that's a bigger problem in Overwatch than it is in other games, because I think now more than ever, like if something happens, it goes out, and there's a lot of misinformation these days on players in particular. I think it kind of sucks because you'll just get like one half of a story, a player will get like condemned, and then like a week later, the other half of the story comes out, and no one fucking reads it.
Yeah, I feel like that was a lot in Overwatch. I completely agree with you. I don't know why. At least in Overwatch, I noticed it a lot more.
As to what's been going on lately,
yeah,
that's a heavy wink.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, even aside from that, like even ignoring the past week or two, I think that's just like an ongoing thing about like rumors of like players that have been dropped from teams or whatever, stuff like that.
It really sucks.
Yeah.
I think something needs to change in particular. I don't know what to do about it personally.
Yeah, I have no idea, honestly.
Yeah, it's really tough, but I think as a community as a whole, we can definitely do something about it. Like, just be more vigilant and like wait for the rest of it. Always question random leaks, etc. Because I have seen many a player just like go under because of one random article or something said on Twitter, which like may or may not be true. But in the moment, because it said with conviction, people are like, "Oh yeah, this is true. Yeah, this guy's bad." It's like, oh, come on, brother. Do this to me.
Yeah. There's always two sides of the story. There's always, the person that's in power in the team often has the largest voice to talk about the other person's reputation. And it's like, okay, if that person doesn't like you for some reason, whether or not you were to their expectations or not, like that can completely affect you as a player and mess up your career or even worse.
I think it's less of a problem between player and player. Like players will tell people, and then a lot of times like just be something random said on Twitter. Rumor will get out. I think most players are pretty respectful, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's tough. But yeah, going back to the original point, just basically just erase your identity, get a new account, get a new name, and then just pop off in East Coast, and then that's how you get Overwatch League, just immediately.
Wait, how did I'm37 make like his debut? Like, how did people first hear of him? Because I remember he was a Korean, and then he started playing and streaming on NA West Coast. I think that's how it started.
He was on WaveCheck.
WaveCheck,
like
one
game.
But that was like, I'm talking about like way before that, because WaveCheck is a pretty new team.
Wait.
I don't know. I
saw a video about this. Toronto Defiant posted a video about. I think he played with some like.
XQC,
yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. Okay.
He got in a game with XQC, and then from there, I don't know.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, that guy was insane.
He thought it was cheating or something. Called him out, and then he got like followers. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. He
must be nice.
They thought he was aimbotting.
I mean,
like you're actually cheating, and then
the friend did the same thing. The friend like, okay, he didn't do the same thing as I'm37, but the friend like stream snipes streamers and like trolled their games and stuff in the beginning. Including me, because I was Mendel's brother, right? So when he got me, he started going Torb and shit. I don't know, really weird.
Gets popularity though.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I mean, it's notoriety, but is it really notoriety if it's on comp? It's like all comp games are kind of troll, right?
People's opinions of you matter quite a bit. So I mean, I say it definitely matters.
Yeah,
that's true.
For sure.
I just mean it matters a little less than it does on a competitive team.
Yeah.
Like if you mess up once in comp, it's like, you know, it's not too bad unless someone popular hears about it. But you know, if you're on a team and you have an incident, it's like those people are going to talk to other people about that one incident.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I mean, just look at Fariha as an example. Like the one thing she said about SA and Orkan crashing down feels bad. Don't agree with what she said, but like, yeah, like you got to be careful in ranked what you say and how what you do as well.
She doesn't even seem like a bad person either. She just
no, she's really nice. She's actually been really nice to me. I really like.
I really like Fariha as well. Like it just sucks that it happens, right? Like I said though, don't agree with what she said at the time.
All right, well, we're a little over an hour and a half, and so I think I'm going to call it. It's been a great episode. Thank you guys so much. And before we head out, before we say goodbye, I just want to make sure that all of your guys' streams get plugged, because I know you guys stream really often, so feel free to plug your stream or Twitter. I'll be plugging you guys' stream and Twitter at the in the post afterwards, but yeah, plug away.
No, you go ahead first, Mike. Okay, I'll go. All right. I stream basically every day, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Twitch.tv/Chronodota, and same username on Twitter.
God damn.
That's it.
All right. Well, I stream like not too often. It's just blank cast. But if you really want to see what I do, just go EU Contenders. I mean, that's where I do most of my stuff. Where I actually cast and I get to shout at stuff. So that's what I enjoy doing more than anything. But if you can catch my streams whenever you want.
It's pretty cool because sometimes when you're VOD reviewing, you see a lot of the EU Contenders players like stop by your stream as you're VOD reviewing their stuff. Or like even Trin, and he'll start messing with you.
Yeah. They're like, what do you mean you're saying this? Yeah.
Yeah, that one time when I was watching one of Asking's VODs when he was on, I forgot it was a while ago, and then he comes into my Twitch chat, and I was like, uh-oh. Only good things from now on.
They have like really big ears, these players, really large ears.
It's tough how you go about it, but there's definitely a right way and a wrong way.
Yeah, for sure.
It's super cool though, because your stream is kind of cozy. It doesn't have like too many viewers, so that it's like there's the chat is being spammed like crazy, but then you get those big pros in from, I think it was it wasn't Angry Titans last time I saw you guys' stream. It was another really big team. I think it was
chat.
I think it was Samsung Morningstars that were just like all in your chat, just like messing around. That was fun. Luddee, gonna plug your stream and stuff?
Yeah, twitch.tv/Luddee and Twitter at Luddee_W.
He pops.
Right. Well, thank you guys so much. It was really blasé kind of way to end the episode. Be coming back on next week for episode 11. We'll probably be fired, so this is my one song, my one episode for the year. This is all I wanted. I told Neri when I started all this stuff that I just wanted one episode a year, so I think this will be it, guys.
You've achieved it. Easy.
Well, thank you guys for coming on, and for everyone else, see you guys in the next episode. Have a good night and stay safe.